Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll just start in a minute or so. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the episode 7 of the Development Sector Dialogues, a series that will happen on the fourth Saturday of every month. These dialogues hope to bring thought leaders, social entrepreneurs, grassroots practitioners, and development sector professionals onto a common platform so that ideas can be exchanged, knowledge and experience and shared, and solutions to shared challenges can be discussed and hopefully co-created and created. These sessions are brought to you jointly by BLEAD, SVYM, and Prakalpa Saujanya Foundation. The Vivekananda Institute for Leadership Development, BLEAD, can also be viewed as an acronym for the Vivekananda Institute for Leadership, Education, and Development, as these are the three core areas of our engagement. BLEAD is an initiative of Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement, which is a development organization engaged in building a new civil society in India through its grassroots to policy level action spanning health, education, community development, capacity planning, and training. BLEAD is an innovation and capacity building lab where ideas are spanned, innovation is nurtured, and leadership is encouraged. It also encapsulates within its exclusive portfolio of products and programs across themes of leadership, education, and development. BLEAD is a place to come to if you are someone looking to incubate your idea, experiment, build your skill sets, enhance your talent stack, contribute to the society, and make a dent in the sector. Prakalpa Saujanya, which is Sanskrit means Project for Social Goodness, is a not-for-profit Section 8 company launched in October 2021 with the endeavor to provide affordable solutions for social sector organizations for sustainable outcomes. The initiative was started by a group of project management professionals chartered with a mission to enable the development sector by applying proven processes through domain knowledge, collaborative learning, and technology-driven empowerment. Prakalpa has evolved a comprehensive suite of programs focused on enabling, energizing, and empowering organizations in adopting the practitioner's approach with an emphasis on delivery of benefits, impact analysis, and sustainability. Prakalpa believes their initiatives will enable social sector organizations to develop more effective and innovative solutions and bring about a transformational change. In the previous dialogue sessions, we had luminous leaders like Dr. R. Balu, Mr. Praveen, Mr. Pramod Kulkarni, Mrs. Jayashri, and Mr. Vedaria, and many other leaders who have discussed various topics like roadmap for social sector organizations post-COVID, collaboration opportunities in NEP implementation, building a sustainable social sector organization, disability and suggested pathways, rethinking the development sector. So with this, I'm very pleased to introduce the topic for today's session. In today's 7th episode, we are going to debate and discuss the need for collaborative approach for sustainability and impact. We have Mr. Kishor Jagirdar as our guest today. Kishor is the president, Vision Karnataka Foundation, and chairman and managing director, Infopace Management Private Limited. He is an MA Economics, MBA in Marketing, and a PG DHRM, a strategic change management specialist, serial entrepreneur, and an innovator. He co-founded the Infopace Management Private Limited in 1999 to cater to the SMEs with a holistic support in management consulting. He has over 27 years of rich management experience. He's a mentor and advisor to several mid-sized companies in India like Microsoft, Bharti Tele, Soft, KPMG, L&T, Tata Motors, to name a few. He has been an assessor in numerous competency development centers. As a chief business mentor, he continues to pivot businesses and assist in acceleration of growth from 2x to 10x using disruptive approaches and widely industrial connect. His specialties include enterprise development strategies, competency resource mapping, strategic management, project management, design thinking, thought leadership, to name a few. Some of his honors are Business Leadership Award 2015, MSME Business Tycoon Award in 2017, Best Facilitator Pan India by TVS Motors, Principal Assessor for South India, Mercedes-Benz. We also have today Mr. Vijay Paul, who would be the moderator for today's session. Vijay is a professional with about 4 decades of professional experience in strategic business management, product lifecycle management, portfolio leadership, business transformation, and many more. Till recently, Vijay has been playing the role of a Chief Operations Officer with NetServe Technologies, a mid-sized product engineering solutions and company. His previous association has been with General Electric, Wipro Corporation, Bionex, and he also ran a medical diagnostic service company. Vijay is extremely passionate about contributing to enhancing strategic planning with multi-generation product and service lifecycle mindset. Vijay has been the honorary president of PMI Bangalore India chapter and also in his local RWA. He has been a member of the expert committee on HR under Bangalore Chamber of Commerce. Vijay is a guest faculty for many medtech domains at Indian Institute of Information Technology. Vijay is an electrical engineer from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and also holds a postgraduate diploma in management from IMM Ahmedabad. He got his project management professional, that is PMP certified, in 2006. He is also a certified Six Sigma. So without any further ado, over to you, Mr. Vijay, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Bala. Thanks for the great introductions. Welcome, Kishor, to this session. Thank you very much for being with us today evening. Knowing that you have got such a tight schedule and also a lot of engagements going. Thank you very much for your kind agreement to come over here and share your thoughts with us. I think some of our connection goes pretty long term in terms of the PMI connection which you had with the basic when the PMI is getting formed, and you have been one of the supporters in the beginning. And then of course I met you in your offsite sometime back, about 3-4 weeks back, and that's where I started realizing that the kind of Vision Karnataka Foundation, the kind of work which you're looking at, and how you're organizing, and the energy behind the whole team out there, and the engagement with the multiple stakeholders was great. And that really looked at I really thought that probably you're the right person to really come and guide a lot of our stakeholders here in our Prakalpa Saujanya. I think you have gone through a lot of diverse experiences, Kishore. You have been a corporate leader, you have been SME torchbearer, you have been into multiple hats, you have got a lot of awards in terms of as a business leader, being a Rotary fellow and things like that. So what is it that makes you tick in terms of getting into social sector, looking at the challenges in the field, and coming up with the kind of Vision Karnataka Foundation as an entity? And what is the reason for what is the DNA and what is the germination reason for some of these thoughts for you to be into this very exciting sector?
Yeah, thank you for all the kind words, Shawad. I don't know whether I'm able to match what you are portraying, but definitely I'll try to make an attempt to share some of the experiences and point of view. Well, Vision Karnataka Foundation is actually created out of a lot of committed people who came together and said they wanted to do something as a champion of change and bring certain kind of a development which is more on the impact side, where things can be seen, visible, and transformation on the ground can be made possible. So all of us from different diverse field and occupation we shared this thought process and then went on deliberating and trying to adapt few projects and take it forward. The whole idea was to bring a project management approach towards various initiatives taken, because so much resources were being put and deployed. At the end of the day, the people who are the beneficiary, we don't see that percolating to them. So it was a very painful thing coming to understand that so much has been spent, but ultimately what is being done on the ground, and have the people for whom it is being done benefiting out of this. So in order to make that happen, we came with this platform that was created as a collaborative, co-created shared value and shared system, where we co-create and create a shared value, and not basically to own things. To own means, again, it's a different facade. So what we thought was, can people have a distributed approach of benefits and not be focused on a select few, because by human nature, we are in a constant space where a few people take over the entire resource and then everything revolves around that. So can we make it more distributive? Can we make it more democratized? So that is what was the story behind Vision Karnataka's creation. And about 6 years ago, this movement started, and we formally legalized it maybe about 4.5 years ago. And then on, it has been a roller coaster riding, taking up and working with governments, and therefore now Vision Karnataka Foundation has become household kind of a name in many of the districts. At the same time, in the corridors of bureaucracy also, we work so much closely with the departments and governments, where we don't go try to point out what is not happening. We say, what can we do to fill the gap, and see that all the collaborative elements fall in place in one single channelized direction, and then we participate in the making of the success story.
Great. I think you are evolving a great model in terms of looking at macros and also working in the micros. I think that's a model which is probably which kind of relevant in the context. So see, we have seen a major transition in our environment because of COVID. So if you really look at the sense, the way that the timelines are changing, we talk about pre-COVID era and post-COVID era. And COVID was considered as one of the largest VUCA events, at least for a few decades. And it has basically made major changes and major impacts on the way people are thinking and how people are looking at the solutions, also the problems and things like that. And it's also brought some of the best and the worst of the humanity. I mean, so we saw the best things happening and worst things happening in that. So in this scenario, what is your perception of changes which are happening in the social sector, development sector, and NGOs in terms of environment and the ecosystem for them? So what from a top level, when you look at from a high 30,000 feet, what do you think is changing, and what are the dynamics which are happening in the environment today, post-COVID, and which are major differentiator from pre-COVID era?
See, the world took up a very, thanks for putting this. I've been tirelessly talking about it from one whole decade. And what COVID has come is just a harbinger. Actually, it is a very positive thing, of a correction within happening. So, first of all, when 2008 global recession happened, at that point of time itself, there was a tectonic shift and earthquake in the economic systems and socio-economic understandings. And a lot of things were being cut and paste application of what has happened in Singapore, Europe, and US, and blind following of these kinds of models which were being applied. And though in 2008 we came to know that these are all something that is not applicable to Indian environment, with a very complex cultural driven society, but still we continue to continue that facade that went on for one more decade. And COVID came and shook that entire thing and made us all awake and see things in real terms. What is really development? what is really required on the ground. With so much of foolish migration that was happening, though we knew that distress migration is happening, we did nothing. And whatever we did was only lip service. So now the impact of the distress migration was evident as a crisis for the urban society. And then the further impact is that all these people who saw that lifestyle and the cost of living and which is not manageable, many of them got disillusioned, and during the COVID, they went back home and they never came back again to the urban centers. Now, what has happened that they have taken all the life experience of urban lifestyle and urban exposure, and now they are feeling a disconnect within the rural setups of what the society is offering there. So therefore, they have created a big opportunity of the next level growth for the country. So I would say there is a difference between growth and development. So one is the rural spaces are now also becoming an inclusive space in terms of planning and in terms of consideration, which was always more of a ritual kind of a thing all these years, and there wasn't really anything being done there. Allotment was done in plenty, bountiful, but now you're seeing real kind of initiative being taken, and government has also seen that the cycle of change is so fast and so rapid that by the time the policy making is done to rectify it and address it, and they come back to the scenario to implement, by the time the reality on the ground again would have gone 1,000 miles ahead on the understanding. So therefore, the government has started accepting the fact that it is no longer the custodian of doing all out end-to-end activity. So it has taken more of a governance kind of a role. As you go in the coming years, the government will step out from implementing things and become more a governing agency rather than being a implementation agency. So therefore, the public policy and governance are now the key focus in the government. And whereas you will see that whatever measures were taken on rapid action solutions and all during the COVID were none of them coming from the government side. It was more of the citizens taking more proactive role. It was more of the the civil society that is becoming more responsible and active and responsible to the disasters and all that stuff. So therefore, it has created a new opening where government has accepted them as an equal player and given them enough space to accommodate, and more PPP based people public private participation has become a sort of a standardization approach or a framework in the last 1 year is what I'm seeing. So there's a big shift, and of course COVID has done a lot of good in correction of the realities. At the same time, many of the policies and the defect on which we were working on has caused the reversal of the benefit that we have gained over let's say about 40-50 years, whatever we made in terms of the child education, women health care, and malnutrition. All these issues which were addressed has been reversed by nearly 40 years behind now. We have seen unimaginable things like child marriages happening in the last 8-9 months. You have seen rise of child infanticides and marriages, and so many things which we thought we have solved has actually come back with a more denigrated position. So therefore, the way going forward, our approach is largely to consider in the planning the entire country and the entire rural population also, which was earlier only a ritual thing. Now it has become real. If you don't address this entire part of the country will stand up as a anarchy kind of a situation. So we have reached that precipice. So therefore, addressing these issues are now on a very urgent basis.
Yeah, so I think we come to the right point in terms of looking at, so how is this whole thing changing? I mean, you touched upon some of the points in terms of the development and human capital and social capital factors, but how do you think the sustainability and impactfulness of the effort it's going to be, will it be there, will it be measured with a little different lens? Or you think that, there will be new type of measures which will come up in terms of measuring the effort which is going on? You earlier said that, the benefits have not been reaching it. Many times everybody else, a lot of us feel frustrated that, what's happening and kya ho raha hai kind of questions. But do you think that these parameters and how the development, the sustainability is going to be measured, and people will have to think totally differently in looking at some of those things?
Yeah, see, a very good question again. Now, when you look at it in a practical point of view, we are not in a place where the target is in front of me and I'm practicing the shooting to build my capability or my competency to perfect my target to hit the bullseye. The target is not static in front of me. I am now in a different era or a space where the target is not just moving, but it is disappearing also. It disappears and it reappears from some other. Just like I would relate this to the starting part of a James Bond movie, where they show James Bond holding the gun, and then suddenly out of the blue somewhere the enemy comes and then he shoots. So we are in similarly a situation like that, where whatever perfectly the principles of project management and all these things what we have planned over the years and the approach of planning and all cannot be deployed, because by the point the people are immersed into it and able to demonstrate a capacity to do it, the constant changes on the ground will agitate them and will not enable them to have that kind of bandwidth of timeline. So the time is very short by which you have to produce impact and result, right? So
yeah,
I would suggest that we look at review, improvise, adapt. Review, improvise, adapt. This as the technique where you are able to comprehend what is the situation, review it, see what are the core things, 1, 2, 3, which will mean of critical importance to that particular community or the project on hand, and then work on that, improvise it, and then immediately adapt to that. So that therefore, in that situation, you will be having some holding energy to bring towards the implementation process to have continuity. Otherwise, many factors will come, and in the process, the overwhelming part of the challenges might drown the implementation and may get lost or lose the direction anywhere.
Yeah, I think you brought a very good point. But we this kind of a methodology, which is adapt, review, and measure yourself, has been applied in software. Some of us are from software. When we talk about agile way of doing it, and then agility, and being kind of looking at changes and risks, and then reorganizing yourself quickly is one of the major areas where we look at it. But how do you see generally the development sector and the NGO sector is seen as a little slower sector. It's not a kind of a sector which adaptability is very, very high. And so what are the model changes you think from your perspective, and whatever you're now looking at from BKF point of view, are there any capacity building things which are required to change the model, or are there any different ways of having NGOs given inputs to be making themselves changes to the new realities?
Yeah, see,
do you think that initiatives are required?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that the micro level management is quite slow. That is exactly why I'm trying to reinforce this, that at the various level, at the macro level and at the micro level, there are different ball games that are required. So while on the macro level, we are talking about the aspect of these things that I mentioned, on the micro level, it still refers to whether I am building the conviction in people where I am able to create demonstrated small success stories which can be visible instantly, and where people are feeling that they are part of the storytelling on the larger scale. Now, if that objective is achieved, I think more or less, whether the implementation is slow or fast, the adaptability of the community or the people who are the direct beneficiaries they themselves will come with many of the solution. Most of the time, what happens is we are working with the corporate model, though we say we are in the social sector. Some of us are conditioned to think exactly in the corporate model where the boardroom makes all the policies, the decisions, and then it tells the manager to translate it to the organization. And while the time the organization is able to effectively do that through various training interventions, capacity building opportunities, the people on the front line are the ones who really deal with the customers. Now they are the ones only who will be able to understand what is really happening in the ecosystem. So therefore, their adaptability to take the decision has to be shifted from some part from the boardroom, some part from the manager, and it has to be given to the frontline people to say, hey, ma'am, if this is a situation, a given situation, you take the decision, you take the measurement to ensure that the beneficiary is not going, unattended or becomes the loser in this entire thing. So you have to ensure that that particular community gets the maximum empathy and attention towards this. So therefore, it is the frontline people who make all the difference.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
in the model of implementation at micro level, what we need is a large layer of empowerment and awareness with the people who are in direct touch points with the community to take quick decisions, to have all the access to resources where they don't have to step back to the organization, where they can quickly call the sponsors to those projects or call the stakeholders to the project and ensure there is a lot of connectivity on the ground. So therefore, ultimately, what quick solution or turnaround time they demonstrate will ultimately show itself in the implementation goodwill.
Yeah, great. I think so some of the great thoughts here in terms of transition and transformation of the sector. For the audience, Kishore is VKF is working in a very exciting project which was launched on 15th of August by our Chief Minister, Mr. Bombay. This is Vivekananda Yuva Shakti project, which is kind of very exciting project, almost 300 crore plus kind of project, which is going to impact many rural youth in terms of their employability. So we're going to have a video shown. Bala, can you play the video? And then probably we'll talk about with Kishore in terms of how is he planning to go ahead with this project, and what are the challenges he's facing, and what are the stakeholders, how he's managing the stakeholder, etc. So yeah, play the video, Bala.
There's no sound.
Yeah, Bala, audio is not there.
Vision Karnataka Foundation, a think tank and an aggregator of social impact solutions, working on the lines of sustainable development goals. Vision Karnataka Foundation, a platform working towards community-based entrepreneurship, where it encourages communities to take entrepreneurship as a solution for solving social problems in their districts and supporting the development of Karnataka state. Shri Vivekananda Yuva Sangha Yojana, a scheme that aims at empowering rural youths of age groups 18 to 29 to take up self-employment by creating self-help groups and also providing financial assistance from State Bank of India up to rupees 10 lakhs in funding and rupees 1.5 lakhs of funding by government as a margin money. In support to this scheme, Vision Karnataka Foundation has a vision to support and train 28,000 youths in and around 31 districts and 6,000 gram panchayat, in turn bringing happiness and development in their villages, towns and districts. In this journey to scale their business and make it a sustainable one, Vision Karnataka Foundation, being the technical agency under the Ministry of MSME or Spurti scheme also supports in getting grants up to rupees 5 crores of funding for community-based entrepreneurship under livelihood. Vision Karnataka Foundation has created 90 such clusters across Karnataka. In support to the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Vision Karnataka Foundation is here to create a vibrant economy in Karnataka by solving problems present locally, using local skills and resources, thereby creating a strong nation.
Great. Thanks, Bala, for playing the video. Yeah. So, Kishore, if you look at, can you just explain within the PPP model how is this project is getting structured, and how is really it's going to be kind of what are the layers going to work in this, and what is the opportunity for grassroots NGOs to work into this?
Yeah, see, there are two aspects of this. One is that this is only meant for the SYSY project is meant only for the youngsters who are in the age group of 18 to 29. This is only youth intensive groups, that is only meant for male. Because all over India, the self-help groups is largely dominated by females, right? So to bring the unemployed youth into this bandwidth, they have taken this measure with about 5 lakh such youths in the Karnataka state. So we are targeting about 28,000 youth who are, being in that maturity stage this year. Now, where we are talking about the state government from the youth development department, youth and development sports department is extending 1.5 lakh as the margin money. This goes to the bank, and the bank will extend a credit line or a funding support of 10 lakhs, up to 10 lakhs. Now, this is largely for those youth groups who have formed under the PDO's legal certification, and like a self-help group, they will form these youth groups. And
I think, Kishore, we can't hear you.
Is largely anchored by various companies which are into different skill development and various other kind of product development and offerings which people have. Those things are brought and it is attached to this particular program. Now, the Vision Karnataka Foundation largely focuses on the core activity, and this core activity is based on creating solutions of entrepreneurship, getting them to guide them, and then after guiding them, it will be focused on seeing that they are adapting to various technologies and solutions which are related to their local that is region, where local resources are there and local skill sets are there. So with minimum intervention on skilling, they can pick up these solutions, get orientation, and start producing results in terms of self-employment and earn money out of that. So this is what VKF is doing in collaboration with various all other partners. Now, when it comes to the overall state level, VKF can play a role in terms of identifying what is required per district, what resources, how many people are available, and what we need to deliver and how to reach them. But we don't have the structure to reach every village or Gram Panchayat. So therefore, largely here, the NGOs who are located in these territories can partner with us. So one is they build the capacity or the capacity building activity as the implementation agency along with us. And then second part is about connecting to them and incubating them, hand-holding them throughout the entire cycle of 1 year till they are able to sustain themselves and really come out with the next level growth, where we talk about seeing if they are enabled into various other schemes and our Spurti scheme where it is for livelihood. So we bring more community participation at the next level, where we talk about several such groups coming together and forming a federation and then forming a cluster of livelihood. So like this in my colleague Anita and Nand Kishore, they have created one cluster like this in Hebri, which is in Udupi, which has 3,000 people in it with pottery. It is a pottery cluster. Similarly, they have created like this in Ramanagara and various other districts. So such ideas can be taken to various levels. So it keeps growing to the next level, and every stage the implementation support is required from the NGOs who are there from that locality. So along with this project growth, they also evolve and they also participate. The entire financial aspect is on a collective model, because we carefully take the responsibility of the financial structures and ensuring that the CSR is channeled, then the funding is channeled, the grants are channeled, and then what is required as expertise for that, and they need to be our arm and limbs in that particular region.
Great. So we have Mr. Baligar who has raised his hand. I think he's from Ranebanur. Baligar, would you like to ask your question to Mr. Kishore?
Hello, sir. This is Mr. Baligar from VRDS NGO based at Haveri districts. I would like to ask some clarification about how organization collaborative with Vision Foundation, Vision Karnataka Foundation. So regarding this skilling or self-help group model, some income generation, livelihood promotion activities through our SHGs. We have a 1200 SHG in Haveri. We have closely worked with unorganized labor also. We are stopping the migration through Narega. So different kind of integrated farming activities also we have taken up, and farmer producer organization we have created. So these are the things how will collaborating with Vision Karnataka Foundation will feature.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Baligar. We are building the agribusiness corridor in Karnataka to create large model of opportunities under the agriculture domain. So all activities related to agriculture, agri-tech and related horticulture, everything comes under this corridor. The corridor starts from Chamarajanagar and ends up in Belgavi and also dovetailing to Kolhapur. Now, in this, Haveri is also falling in that district. All these are river-fed zones. So therefore, whatever you have right now mentioned, they all fall into the producer category, where we are talking about creating hubs in each of these districts where the producers, what they have produced is processed, and then the processing or the buying of that happens in that hub. So we are inviting you to be part of that, so that you will be able to create a value of where the market linkage happens and value creation takes place for all these producers you are representing in that territory. And with regards to specific projects, like for example, the people came to us where a lot of banana plantation is grown, and they said we are producing bananas, banana market is there, and we are getting good produce. But at the end of the day, can we double the income or do something better? So then we looked at their entire aspect, where the banana stem, the various waste of banana is also becoming another cycle of producers supply to the processing units that we are setting up in collaboration with the various clusters there on livelihood. So out of that banana, the community itself starts producing fabric out of the banana waste, diabetic juice out of the banana waste. Then they will be able to also have ropes and plates and cups and so many things produced out of the waste. And that is becoming another circular economy, right? So earlier only the producers were talking about what they can earn from banana. Now they are also able to expand and create more value out of it as a collective community. And therefore, not only income generation happens, multiple skilling takes place, more of enrichment happens, and it creates more opportunity to stop migration from that location also. So this is the value that you can create with us.
How will
So,
future will work with Vision Karnataka Foundation? How will collaborating and any trainings or capacity building of NGO or any exposure with NGO staff, and how will some training for NGOs from Vision Karnataka, and how will work in the ground level, some technologically, and we have actually a lot of farmer producing of millets. So government of India is next 23rd, 23, next year is whole year, all whole India is produce the millets and consume the millets. How best we can, we have also processing unit of millets. So we need some technological support and packing systems. So
yeah, Balgar, what we will do, we will connect Mr. Kishore with you in terms of details and what are the things which can be done in
Yeah.
terms of collaborating. So that's the question which I wanted to ask Kishore, is that, no, do you have a structured way of looking at how to have the partners built at the grassroots NGOs? Is there any methodology there, Kishore?
See, right now, this is exactly what we had as a conversation before the session, and I was referring to you that post this event, we would request you and request your partnership with us to identify all these NGOs who are affiliated to you. So we invite them and have a dialogue with them and see and understand what is their capacity and resource they have built, and how do we take them to the next level through the opportunities that we have. So this needs a continuation of dialogue. It cannot happen by a session like this where I give some gyan or something. It doesn't. It will not translate to something on the ground. So what I would suggest is that we have a continuation of this, where we come together, all your NGOs come together, we talk to each other, we understand the strengths, and then we will engage them into all the projects. See, the projects are anyway rolling. So all they have to do is identify themselves and say which territory they are into, and then specific to that territory, what capacity building we require, we will do that on a one-to-one or in a collective.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think that's where Prakalpa and our team and other collaborators can come together with you to really, bring in this whole transformation into place. Now, in terms of a few things which we like to focus on also is in terms of the success of the projects and being a sustainable and building up an impact. So what are the structured methodologies have you applied in your, you recommend for NGOs to apply in your projects or at a program level? Are there any recommendation, or we need to evolve them also in the new
Yes,
world?
See, all these days, it was more of an individual crusade kind of a thing that people from the social sector were demonstrating. Because I was abused as a child, and today I want to do something for the girl child, or I went through a lot of hardships, and therefore I want to do something so that others don't get into this. So this was something like that kind of a mindset that was largely driving the NGO sector, and some of the NGO sectors which were very well organized and established, some at global level and some at national level, like the developmental alternatives or Oxfam, or all these people went with a more of a project management approach, but largely again they were all working on capacity building to a limited extent. So I would say the ADKAR principle applies here. The ADKAR is A for awareness, D is for desire, A is for knowledge, and A is for ability, and R is for reinforcement. So I repeat, A for awareness and D for desire. So when normally an NGO does some work of sensitization or bringing some kind of awareness, these people who are the beneficiary understand and say, yes, this is my problem, I'm facing this problem. Then that particular awareness has to percolate and go to the next level, where they feel there is a strong desire to do something about that. Right? So A for awareness, D for desire, then comes for K for knowledge. So that knowledge of how to do it, what to do, why to do, all these things are addressed in that. Now, then comes the again, A for ability. So through the knowledge, am I building the ability of the community, right? To hold that particular change and be owning that change. Then finally, the last part comes R for reinforcement. Just the way in any family relationship, whether it is between the husband and wife or the children, constantly various methods of engagements are done to communicate that I love you. The husband and wife keep saying I love you in different words, different ways in actions and all. Sometimes if your favorite dish is gulab jamun and she makes gulab jamun for you, that's a way to say I love you. Same way, the NGOs also need to understand that in the community, that particular thing of reinforcing aspect comes very critical in saying and reminding what was the real intent of why we started this. So you have to say I love you in different formats, even after the project is come to a conclusion, to ensure the continuity of the project. Otherwise, everything gets forgotten. It's human nature. So now typically what VKF has understood and what VKF works is that most of the NGOs work largely based on the funding resource. If there is funding, they will be working. Now, if the funding plug is pulled, then everything goes back to zero. That means what is happening in this space of funding? It is more of I am holier than thou. That means I am a person who's come to transform you. I have come to help you. I have come to change you. That is the way we go as NGO. Now, therefore, in that activity, most of the time, what we are doing, we are creating awareness. We are somewhat creating desire among the population, identifying who has got the desire to bring the change and hold the change. And then the knowledge, most of the time, we are holding as NGO.
Yeah.
We don't transfer the knowledge to the community. We don't say, now you take this, you own this, you have to drive it, you have to be empowered. So we don't act as a facilitator because the NGO's funding depends on how long this project is running. As long as it's running, they're getting funded, right? So therefore, the NGO holds the knowledge towards this. So that's where all the facade creates, right? So therefore, what the next step is from the knowledge, the ability. The ability is not fully structured, not fully attained. So when the funding is pulled, everything goes to zero.
Yeah.
Right? So what we are doing is we are working on a different model where we say from day one, we participate on a pilot level, aggregate all the NGOs and implementation partners, the specialists or the experts in this, create a large stakeholder value where end-to-end solution is at least to 90% it is there. And then what we do is we engage in such a way that the deep conviction building which is required for initially to enable the community to feel and touch this particular change is spearheaded by us directly. Once we have said that we have achieved that space, then we make them as part of the stakeholdership where they gradually take over the whole thing and they start learning how to manage it themselves. And what we do is we take a step back once they start doing it, and then we just focus on the reinforcement game. Just like how my father taught me to ride a cycle. He used to tell, I am behind you, don't worry, I'm holding the cycle. And he used to give me the confidence, and I used to, keep falling and all, but he used to hold me and say, look, I am behind you. And then he never let me know that he has left the cycle, but I am driving the cycle myself. Right? So that is what we focus on in all the projects that we do. So in the initial stage, only the pilots where deep dive conviction is to be created, we directly handle it. And then after that, everything is distributed.
Yeah, I think that's a great model, EdCar, which you have talked about. And I think for this, probably there must be a lot of cultural change within NGOs also to really understand it and apply it. A lot of NGOs have to align with with this kind of a model, and which is totally different from what today's mindset is in the NGOs.
Exactly. They are going to be forced to change, because earlier it was because of my intent to make a change, I was starting an NGO and doing things. Now the situation is very different because of COVID and the impact of COVID. More than 240 million livelihood is lost because of the COVID impact, and it's a serious concern on the ground, and many things have got reversed. So therefore, what Niti Aayog has done is, every district, there are 773 districts in India. So 773 districts have been mapped, everything in terms of the index of the growth that is required, index of development, index of growth. So in the SDG model, what are the aspects that needs to be developed in that particular region, which is now the basic concern for this whole decade. So if the particular region is, say, below 6 of the required standards, right? So the focus is not to bring the -6 to say +4 or +5 or something like that. It is too far-fetched. So what they're trying to do now is, from -6, can I bring it to -2 or -3, so that we can then focus on the next level of change through some other strategies or interventions. So therefore, when the NGOs are working now, they need to really look at what is really required for the district, not some cut and paste implementation of what worked elsewhere. I've seen, while doing ground level implementation, what was working 15 kilometers away was not working in this particular zone, because here resistance was there of a different nature. So therefore, everything has to be specific to that particular region, to the need of the people. So there has to be a lot of need analysis, baseline survey, and also an analytical approach towards the solution, and ensure that it is the right solution which is really required and over a scale.
Great, Kishore. I think you have shared a lot of your transformational ideas in terms of how the future is going to be for in the development sector, bringing agility, EDCAR model, how to make sure that the sustainability is built right from the need analysis and understanding the things. I want to really thank you very much for the time. We could have discussed for hours and hours in terms of the great thought process which you're sharing and the challenges which NGOs have. We really want to thank you very much. And I will request now Amar to take over and have the vote of thanks and conclude in terms of whatever we had this great dialogue today. Over to Amar.
Hi, everybody. It was a wonderful session indeed. Kishore, thanks to you again for really coming forward and sharing with us on the subject. I really appreciate this. So the collaborative approach for sustainability and impact conversation that we had just now, with some real insight and thought process of how Vision Karnataka has been, implementing some of these thoughts. And the questions really went on how COVID has changed this whole world. And there's been a lot of distress migration which happened, which has created opportunity to have the rural part of the community as an inclusive plan. A very important takeaway that Kishore mentioned. And also the sustainability target is really moving. But he gave those golden words of view, improve, and adopt. And that is the mantra which we use in order to keep your direction intact. These were some very good thoughts which came up, which I noted down here as some takeaways. And also some 2 questions on how do we have to empower at the ground level. This is something which I do see in various NGOs. There's one person on the top, and then there's a lot of things hanging down from there. But basically, it doesn't percolate fully down. So here is some things that, enable the lower down line, the larger community layer on the ground for decision making. And that would really bring in a lot of change, and a lot of good ideas would actually flow in from, the people right at the bottom. And so those are things which, Kishore did really touch on. Collaborative approach. And that was, in fact, the essence of today's talk. And there were a lot of good points came up. And I really liked the methodology of how to build this up into a community and what things you should work on. I like that acronym called ATKA. So awareness, desire, then knowledge, ability, and reinforce. And, I don't want to extend all the good points that were already mentioned by Kishore. However, I was thinking on the reinforce part. It's actually 4 more steps in that. It's a guided perform, an assisted perform, a supported perform, and an independent perform, to really get them going with whatever they have come up with, and enabling them with a solution, an entrepreneurial type of a solution, which helps them into a self-help community. How do you make them into a self-help community, a self-sustainable projects which will help them to have their livelihood better and then move forward? And I think we need a lot of that stuff, a really very good way to have a transformational change in the rural workspace, and thereby, collectively, we all move forward, progress in this country. A fabulous session, Kishore. Really appreciate your insight and thoughts on the subject. With that, and Vijay, thank you so much for the motivation and bringing out all those, right things in this forum for everybody else. And if there are any other question, I don't know if in the chat, if there's any question for Kishore. Just trying to see if there's anything over there. If not, we can. I would like to thank 2IM, Ramesh and the team from VLEAD, and also from Prakalpa, my own colleague Balakumar and Sujata and Vijay over here. Thank you so much for a fantastic session. And thank you once again, Kishore. And thanks everybody for joining in for the session on a Saturday evening. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So with that, we are concluding the session. Thank you so much, Mr. Kishore again. Thanks, Vijay sir, and Mr. Ahmad. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.